Difference between the cluster grid and the cloud computing. So firstly, let's see about the cluster computing. A cluster is normally formed with computers of single location. So normally it's when the computers are in a single location. Otherwise, the system becomes complex. So if it is not in a single location, the whole system will become complex. So the cluster is normally occurring in a single location. When we come on to the grid computing part, it is more distributed in nature. Okay, it is inherently more distributed in nature, and the computers are need not be, or it is not must that it should all be in a single location. It can be in a same geographical location. And when we come to the cloud computing, it's more better version, that is, it allows total distribution of resource like the grids. So it gives the resources, distributes the resources, because the grid computing is decentralized in nature. So likewise, cloud computing is also using distribution. So hardware resources are maintained in multiple data centers spread across the globe. So there are different data centers that we need to study inside the cloud computing. So there are different data centers, and through these data centers, the resources are spread across the globe. The next is the resources are generally pre-reserved for specific type of task. So they are specifically pre-reserved for specific type of task. Next is resources are generally pre-reserved for specific. So here also they are pre-reserved. But here in cloud computing, the resources are not pre-reserved for specific type of task. Resource utilization is mainly demand driven. It's demand driven and it is not pre-reserved. Okay. Here utility based computing is not there. So if utility based computing was there, then it is also based on it's also like cloud computing, what I've just said. The next is computation job takes place in one administrative domain owned by a single party. So the computation job takes place in one administrative domain, that is a particular administrative domain owned by a single party. I've told a cluster head. So it's computation job is done by a single administrative domain. But over here, the computation could occur over many administrative domains owned by multiple parties as connected together. So it's multiple parties connected together, and there is many administrative domains. And when we look on to the computing resource of a cloud computing, it's usually owned by a single party. Here also it's owned by a single party, but multiple administrative domains can be combined together to perform job. Here it is a single party, but multiple administrative domain can be combined to perform the job. Next is its features a centralized task management scheduling system. So here it is centralized task I've told, and here the features is distributed task. It is decentralized in nature, and in cloud computing it also performs decentralized task. Here it was more static in nature, but here it is with more dynamic computing infrastructure. Here the system is not dynamic in nature. Application mobility is not possible. And it's also not dynamic in nature. It is also not dynamic in nature, and application mobility is not possible. But here it is dynamic system, and mobility of application is also possible.